SFA Online fans, this is John, your co-host of The Grow Show here, back for another episode of Why Are They Gone? But before we get into this, please subscribe and like us, because we're gonna have some crazy, amazing content coming out soon. Also, go on our Facebook page if you want to know the latest and greatest breaking news on the music park industry. Also, go on our Instagram and TikTok for amazing pictures and crazy videos. But before we get into this, are you ready? Are you set? Ladies and gentlemen, please start your engines. That's right, this is Why Are They Gone? Riverside Speedway. That's right, Riverside Amusement Park, now known as Six Flags New England, once had a racetrack inside the park. Crazily. They used to have demo derbies, figure eights, and NASCAR racing. That's right, NASCAR, Redneckville. No, I'm just joking. But they really did have NASCAR racing. But not the NASCAR Cup Series, that is. They used to have the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And, well, at that time, it wasn't Whelen Modified Tour. It's now called the Whelen Modified Tour. But also, they used to have the NASCAR Busch North Series. That used to have drivers from likes of Hall of Famers such as Richie Evans and Mike Stefanik, and other drivers like Jeffrey Bodine, Todd Bodine, Mr. Excitement himself, Jimmy Spencer. But that changed, and Agawam wouldn't hear the roar of motors anymore. But they would now hear screams after this once amazing racetrack went silent. But the Riverside Park Speedway is no more, sadly. But before we get into why it's gone, here's a little information on the racetrack itself. Riverside Park Speedway was a quarter-mile oval racetrack and was located inside the Riverside Amusement Park in Agawam, Massachusetts, 1 mile north of Massachusetts and Connecticut state lines. But the beginning of the racetrack, it was not a quarter mile. It was not that big of a track at that time. Riverside Park Speedway, or nicknamed the Park, was built in 1948. Park owner Edward Carroll demolished the dance hall that had burned down that year, and in its place rose a 1/5. That's a small track. 1/5 of a mile, nearly flat paved oval track. The pit area was along the Connecticut River, along the backside near the river, with large grandstands being built on the hills, leading from the amusement park down to the racetrack. The first full season of stock car racing was 1949. International sports car racing star Phil Walters, who raced modifieds and midgets under the name Ted Tappet, won the season championship of the first year. The United Stock Car Racing Club, which ended up at that time was another version of NASCAR, which they ended up drawing about 6,000 to 8,000 fans every Saturday night. And up until the 1970s, ran the track. In the 1970s, were a decade of change for the facility as physical and managerial changes were put into place that made the track what it was until its final season. In 1971, the track's configuration was changed to a bigger 1/4 mile oval, with slightly higher banks in the turns. The bleacher seating surrounding the track was also removed, and to make way for the 6,200 chair back seats. Some of Riverside Park's local stars during the early and mid-70s was including S.J. Everson, Bob Palvari, and modified own NASCAR modified legend Reggie Ruggiero, and others. But after a rowdy driver's strike, it became clear that the United Stock Car Racing Club could no longer hold Riverside Amusement Park, Riverside Raceway. And the organization cleared out and cleared the path for another popular organization to take over the track. The National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing, that's right, NASCAR, began sanctioning events at Riverside Park Speedway in 1976. The winner of the first NASCAR sanctioned event was Palvari. Invaders, that they used to call the Invaders, that raced the park, was seeking national modified championship points, included Richie Evans, Jerry Cook, Jeffrey Bodine, Jimmy Spencer, John Blewett Jr., also Mike Stefanik, and many others. But at that time, in the 70s, Stefanik really wasn't racing that time. The 1980s arrived, the track's final reconfiguration and repaving to a 15-degree banking would be added in the mid-1980s. Following the parks in the 1980s, then into the 90s, the park's amusement park's racetrack, the racers and the managerial of the racetrack kind of had a feeling that something was coming down the line when Premier Parks bought the amusement park itself. Well, sadly, in 1999, Premier Parks, as the owner of the amusement park, came down and told the racetrack's ownership, managerial group, that the park needed the land and it needed to go. So, in 1999 was the final season of the racing in Riverside Park Speedway. I can tell you right now, I have history watching races at that park, but I'll get to that in a few minutes. The Ram Parks Inc. made several major changes that directly affected the Speedway when they took over the amusement park in the 90s. The company was about to change its name to Six Flags Inc. and rebrand the park instead of Riverside Park to Six Flags New England for the opening of the 2000 season. So the racetrack closed in 99, and then in 2000 the park decided to clean house and build a bigger, crazier attraction over there. But during this time, Six Flags permanently closed the track and made room for what is now known as Superman and DC Universe. Yeah, DC Universe is where the racetrack used to be. Sadly, there's no more races there, and basically it's a forgotten thing, actually, around the area, sadly. But I do have history at this track, because I actually used to go to this racetrack when I was younger. We used to go early in the morning, opening of the park. We used to ride the rides early, go on the line, get the racetrack tickets, go watch the races. Races used to be done. We used to go back in the park. We used to eat and ride the rides until the park closed. It used to be fun. I remember seeing the Crazy Eights, and I remember seeing the NASCAR Modifieds. With my family, my parents and my other grandmother and that, we used to actually see, we used to cheer on guys like Mike Stefanik, Ted Christopher, Reggie Ruggiero, and at that time, there was quite a few other guys like Michael McLaughlin, Randy LaJoy, that was coming up through the ranks in the 90s that ended up making, at that time, starts in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and also the NASCAR Busch regular series. A couple of drivers actually went on to drive in the Cup Series a couple of races as well. The modified series that actually used to run Riverside actually has produced quite a bit of history, quite a bit of drivers that actually has gone on and became big guys like Martin Truex Jr. and there's a couple other Connecticut drivers as well. But sadly, Riverside Raceway or Riverside Speedway will never see the light of day anymore because Six Flags New England transformed it into DC Universe. If you like this, please subscribe or hit the like button. If you didn't, well, sorry if you didn't like it. But make sure if you're new here, also go to our Facebook page, like that, and keep up to date with all the breaking news that are coming out for the amusement park industry. Until next time, y'all, keep on coasting, y'all. Peace!